What's going on YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the brand new start of the brand new event, DC Universe Lazarus Planet Alpha issue number 1. This is the next big event right after Dark Crisis, which has been teased and set up for quite a while. I actually feel like there's been more effort put into this than the setup for Dark Crisis, or at least it's been more interesting leading up to it, because we've had Batman versus Robin, we've had the Robin book before that ultimately ended, we've had Batman Superworld's Finest tease this, and of course the last book that's really tied into it is, of course, Monkey Prince, which I finally did read every issue of Monkey Prince last night, actually, because I'm like, you know what, I'm going to catch up on Monkey Prince, and for the most part, it's actually a book I enjoyed quite a bit. Kind of kicking myself that I wasn't reading it for a while, but it's actually kind of fun where I just have a bunch of issues like, okay, I got like 9-10 issues to read. I'm just going to kind of cram this in and just be caught up from there. So yeah, I actually enjoyed Monkey Prince. So I will be covering issue 10 because I'm covering every issue tied into this whole event. And yeah, Monkey Prince is actually pretty good, so I actually recommend it if you get the chance to. It's fun, it's a little bit different, and it's interesting, let's say the least. Is it a masterpiece or anything like that? I don't think so, but I actually quite enjoyed reading Monkey Prince. So a nice surprise for me. But anyways, so this issue, of course, is written by Mark Waid, and the author of Monkey Prince is the guy writing the back. Riccardo Federici, I think, is the artist on the main issue, and you had a lot of people working on this thing. We'll get to the credits in a second. But the main crux of this issue is to start the Lazarus Planet Event. And what happened was in Batman vs. Robin issue number 4, there was a big fight between Batman and the Devil Nezza, or Nezza, or however you pronounce it. And Nezza, during the fight, destroyed the Helmet of Fate, basically fractured into pieces, and then the helmet itself was kind of super loaded with all sorts of different magical abilities, because the character of Black Alice had kind of siphoned these off and taken the powers from various magical objects and users and put them into the Helmet of Faith, because Nezza, and with the aid of Mother Soul, was afraid of his son, or adopted son, King Fireball, and he was just preparing for the inevitable confrontation. But Batman was there, and he also wanted revenge on Batman, and all sorts of crazy things. Like I said, if you read Monkey Prince, they do tie things in a little bit more and go into the detail and the backgrounds of different things. Not so much with King Fireball, which is, they've been doing some backstory in this thing, because he's barely in Monkey Prince from what I read. Maybe like 1 or 2 issues, but not a huge factor, but I guess they're kind of teasing it towards the end. So there's a lot of influence from that series into this one. So yeah, King Fireball fought Nezza. Things got out of hand. Nezza went his own way. Batman got severely injured, even kind of died, but they're kind of bringing him back to life. And basically, that whole like super volcano is just basically kind of erupted. This is the whole year-long storytelling initiative, Dawn of DCU. So you have the old team in that. At this point, the Justice League is kind of off doing their own thing or whatever. They've kind of disbanded at this point. So there's a lot of interesting stuff at play here. I don't know what's going to be next for Damian, though, after this series, but he is one of the main characters in it. But basically, he's got to lead 2 different teams. He takes over a leadership role, and thankfully they don't make it like in Teen Titans where they just make him a dick and just completely forget what's going on. Here he's actually kind of stepping up to the plate, and it's like, I have to fix this whole situation, because he was under the mind control of Nezza, because Nezza mind controls basically everybody, and he's got to make things right. So he's got his dad, he's got Talia, he's got Black Alice, who's still traumatized from the whole event here, and he basically puts together 2 different teams, because this Lazarus Volcano storm has just infected the whole planet. Everything's all topsy-turvy, magical users, technology users, the whole thing is kind of haywire across the planet. So they're going to try to find a way to stop this thing, but also try to stop Nezza and the Fireball King and his 2 little lackeys. So yeah, so basically some of the cool stuff in this thing, Damian tries to take charge at one point. It's like, okay, look, he's a strategist, so he's just got he's gathering all the heroes that he possibly can, and some of them are going to go one way, some are going to go to another team. So there's one team that's headed to the Himalayas after Nezza, because Damian even thinks that there's a chance that they could utilize him as a temporary ally, even though he doesn't trust him because of his relationship with King Fireball, who's the surprise twist villain who, like I said, was not in Monkey Prince book, the Monkey Prince book, all that much, just a little bit towards the end. But this series takes so much influence from Monkey Prince and that whole like Chinese god culture and all that other stuff. I forget what the name of the book is, but there's clearly, I think it was the book that inspired Dragon Ball to begin with. So there's a lot of like Chinese legends and lore integrated from that into the DC universe here. So, but yeah, so anyway, some of the team members go to the Tower of Fate because they transport all the magical users and all these different objects there. Damian's plan is to, okay, we're going to get that all back. We're going to use Black Alice to siphon off or get the magic back into those things and get them in the proper hands of different people. And we're going to get as many allies as possible. And the others are going to try and stop Neza before he gets to a Lazarus pit and perhaps use him as an ally. And then Damian also keeps Monkey Prince by his side because they actually had some interactions in the Monkey Prince book, which were pretty fun though. So, but anyway, so you have also, on the one hand, at the Tower of Fate, you have the Silver Horn King, who they can go face to face with, and then you have the Golden Horn King in the Himalayas. They also do find Neza at one point in one of Ra's al Ghul's or Ra's al Ghul's, or however you want to pronounce its old hang-ups in that. Poison Ivy's even integrated her and Swamp Thing. I actually like that Ra's and her, because they're both eco-terrorists, kind of have a little bit of a connection there in some fashion, because when the whole thing went haywire and they figured out it was Lazarus Pit, she wanted to go there with Swamp Thing to see how it affected the green. So I like that. There's a nice one with Marcus, aka the Monkey Prince, and Black Alice here, or her name's Lori. She does call Robin a jerk, but that was pre-Robin book Damian at that point, so hopefully he's matured a lot better at this point, and we don't have any going back on all that stuff. So, but yeah, so all this stuff kind of happens, various battles going on. You can see right here they have this whole map, and they also tease all sorts of different follow-ups in that too. But in essence, all sorts of magical users get their powers back. I can't remember every single person here, but that's basically the gist of it. Batman at one point, because he's linked to Neza, because that's how he was resuscitated, becomes a demon form right here, which has some really awesome looking artwork. I mean, look at this thing. It looks awesome. Way cooler than the Batman Who Laughs, or as I call him, the Cenobite Batman. Just look at that design. Like, I mean, the art and colors here really is stellar in this issue, and I think it's one of the big standouts. And, of course, the ending tease is the King Fireball is coming in here. Poor Damian. He has not had any real good luck with this whole situation. First he goes to Lazarus. First Alfred dies, then he has the whole awful Teen Titans bit. Then he goes to Lazarus Island, and he has to fight a Lazarus demon, and then he thinks he's kind of won there, and then he gets possessed by Neza, and then right after Neza, it's King Fireball. He does not have any good luck whatsoever in this whole Lazarus Pit storm, so maybe he can get a break after this, but we'll see. And then in the backup storyline, which was written by Gene Luen Yang, so that's the main writer on Monkey Prince, and they kind of go into a little bit of a backstory with Neza and the Monkey King at one point, and how they used to be friends. You can see Neza's design here is very different, and before he goes to his full demon form and all that, and he's got this mystical object that's kind of keeping him in his place like this. I don't know, it's a lot to kind of go into, but in essence, this just kind of goes into how he ended up adopting and becoming a father figure to the Fireball King, and just kind of teases going to read Monkey Prince issue number 10. So that's kind of that. And then, of course, the backup stuff here is just kind of setting up the whole Lazarus Planet checklist. So I will be covering every issue in this whole crazy event that we got coming up. There is a lot to digest in this thing, and I didn't quite cover every little tiny detail, but I kind of wanted to go over it the best I could to really kind of explain things. Sometimes I struggle to put into words what's in my head. So all things considered, I actually did enjoy Lazarus Planet Alpha issue number 1. I think it does a pretty good job setting up this event for the most part. This is an issue I had to read more than once to really kind of get behind it and grasp it a little bit, because there is so much going on, because this is affecting the whole entire planet. And we just had Dark Crisis, and now it's back to this thing right here right afterwards, and it gets pretty crazy at times, and there's some intrigue with it, with the whole thing being affected. You don't exactly know which direction it's going to go in with the various DC heroes. Even for simple things as Supergirl, normally solar energy charges up a Kryptonian. Well, the whole magical, like, Lazarus storm or whatever you want to call it, now it's the opposite. Now it weakens them, and they're already weakened towards magic. So there's a lot going on here. I think Mark Waid does a good job capturing the heroism of the different characters, but also sprinkling in like a smidge of humor and the stakes of it all. The artwork itself is really, really good. I also like the backup story, but I think if you're not reading Monkey Prince, it'll kind of... it won't click quite as well. So I guess this is my recommendation to just go check out Monkey Prince, because I think it's a pretty solid series. So yeah, those are my quick thoughts on it overall. I do like it. I did like this first chapter right here. It's not mind-blowing or anything like that. The artwork is really, really good. But we'll just have to wait and see where things go. I'm a little hesitant with DC because we've just been event overload for so long at this point. But if Mark Waid is able to write most of the stuff and the tie-ins aren't just a load of crap like we got with Dark Crisis, then I could probably get behind it. I just am really on event fatigue at the moment, but I'm hoping that this really takes off and it ends up being a really solid event, because it's been so long, I feel like, since we had a really awesome DC like line-wide event that's been pretty good. Dark Crisis was a huge disappointment. Fear State was a huge disappointment. What was before that? Dark Knight's Death Metal was bad. I like the first Dark Knight's Metal, so maybe it was Dark Knight's Metal was the last line-wide event that I actually liked. Not the second one. The first one was actually pretty good, and that was a fun read. But we didn't really need a sequel like that. So, but I'm hoping that Lazarus Planet is a good 2-month event, and then we can get back to just taking a nice hiatus from all these different events. We can just focus on the smaller titles and that. So that's my hope for this whole thing. I don't know which direction it's going to go in, but I am looking forward to it. So there you go. Those are my long-winded thoughts on Lazarus Planet Alpha number 1. What did you think of the issue? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think of the character directions going on here? Demon Batman sounds cool. Damian's just shit out of luck when it comes to things. I do hope that he has his really big heroic moment, maybe where he saves the DC universe. Given all the stuff that's happened in Robin and Batman versus Robin, he hasn't really had the chance to shine, I think, to his full potential. Because, like, even in Dark Crisis, he kind of takes a little bit of a backseat and didn't have that big, huge moment. So maybe it'll be by the time Batman vs. Robin 5 comes out. But he's got to have a big, big moment in there. I know he's stepping up here, which is good to see. I'd like to see him lead a Teen Titans team where he's actually written competently and not like such a jerk. Hey, maybe Mark Waid could be the one to do it, because he does really well with the heroic side of things. I mean, look at World's Finest. He understands the intelligence of the characters. Those are all in their strengths and weaknesses, all showcased pretty well. But the main theme of it too is heroism. Like the heroism just shines through in the writing, and you get to see the best qualities of the different heroes on display there, always trying to look out for everyone else and trying to do the right thing. I like that aspect. I like that. So I'm hoping for something like that with his character, because he is a main character in this thing. He's leading this big mission here. This is the time where he steps up and hopefully showcases his maturity and becomes a really good leader. That's what I'm hoping for with this thing. I want it to happen. I think fans want it to happen, and I don't know if he'll lead a Teen Titans team or anything like this, but I want to see him showcased as a leader in a positive light. Not that Teen Titans crap that we saw in the Glass Thompson stuff where they had his own crazy little prison. That was a terrible idea. I want it showcased in a good way, a really strong way. So that's what I'm hoping for. But anyways, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then. I'll see you all in the next video. Tomorrow, I will cover the final issue of Batman Urban Legends. I just haven't had the time to read it yet. That's why this Lazarus Planet issue is kind of late today. But look forward to all that stuff. All right, well, that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.